Hi guys, I just wanted to give a little update because I've noticed some trends over the last week and a half, and we don't know how much longer we're going to be in online classes. So we don't know if it's just for the rest of this week or if it's for the month of April or if it's for the rest of the school year. And I want us to be prepared for any outcome. And so whether we return to class in a couple of weeks or whether we are online for the rest of the semester, I think that this is a very important thing to talk about. And I want to talk about how do we ask for help, because this is just a skill that I want all of my students to learn. So thinking about the physical classroom, this is something that I try to teach you in the classroom. And if students ask me, why do I have to learn this? What do you want me to learn from this? One of the things I say is learning when and how to ask for help. That's one of the very important skills that I think everyone needs to know. We may be online. We're not in a physical classroom with the walls and the teacher right in front of you, but there are still, but this is still a classroom. And so we need to remember that. And so let's go back to the physical classroom and walk through what does it look like when we ask for help. When you ask for help, what's the first thing you do? You raise your hand and say, "Miss, I have a question," or "Miss, I need help," something along those lines. And if that's your question, what is the teacher's first response? I walk over and I say, "Okay, what's your question?" Or "How can I help? What do you need?" Something along those lines. I probe for that. I need to know what your question is so that I can guide you and answer your question adequately. It might be a procedural question, like, "I don't understand the directions," or "Am I doing this right?" The conversation then is usually pretty short. You might say, "How do I do this?" And I'll say, "Hey, reread the directions." And you get it right away. You're like, "Oh, I just didn't see that." Or sometimes I have you read things out loud and you say, "Oh, now I get it." Sometimes it's just me checking your work and saying, "Yep, you're doing that correctly." But sometimes you have a question that's about how to do something, like, "How do I do this problem?" And then we have some dialogue. Depending on who you are, my answer is going to be different. For some students, I know that you maybe need me to sit there with you and to walk through each problem step by step. For some students, I know that you need me to kind of challenge you and to ask you questions that help you get to the answer without me spoon feeding. I never want to just give the answers because that's not how learning happens. And so I try to work with each person at their individual level. Now, we are in an online classroom right now. So let's talk about some things not to do. These are some things that I'm seeing some people do over the last week and a half, and they're not going to be good for you for learning. They're not going to help you in the long run. So the first thing, guys, if you just say nothing, the teachers have no idea that you are having problems. You have to tell us. So don't just sit there and say nothing and say, "Well, maybe I'll get it next time." No, you need to speak up. Please don't send vague emails or comments. When you just send me an email that says, "I have a question," or "I don't understand the lesson," I don't know where to start with because you probably understand more than you're giving yourself credit for. So I need you to be specific and say, "On example 2 on the video, I didn't understand how you got this third step," something like that. Be specific and let me know exactly where you are so that I don't have to play catch up and figure out where is your question, where's your concern. Please don't expect instant and immediate communication. We are all working very, very hard to provide as instant and immediate communication as possible. However, instant and immediate looks different online than it does in the classroom. In the classroom, you raise your hand and you immediately get me either saying, "Yes, what do you need?" or me saying, "Hey, or just give me a minute, I need to finish up what I'm doing." Either way, that's an instant feedback. I'm trying to respond to emails and comments as soon as I get them, but sometimes it might take a few minutes, and sometimes I have other meetings that may prevent me from getting to your questions. So don't expect instant and immediate communication the way it looks in a physical classroom. Don't just give up. There are so many better solutions, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But if you just give up, then there's nothing that I can really do to help in that situation. So let's look at what to do in place of that. Always let the teacher know you're having trouble. If you are just like, "I'm not understanding where any of this is coming from," or if it's just, "I don't understand this one little step," whatever it is, let us know. You have to communicate, especially in an online setting. If we're not seeing you, we don't even have the facial cues to know that you don't understand. So you have to communicate even more than you did in the physical classroom. You need to send specific emails and comments. Like I said, if you send me an email that says, I don't understand, I'm going to respond with, okay, what don't you understand? And it's going to take longer to get your problem resolved. If you send a specific email or specific comment saying, I don't understand question number 4 on the homework, or if you say, I'm having trouble understanding this part of the video, can we jump on Zoom and discuss this? Or can you send me a picture of your work? Can you check and see if I'm doing this correctly? You're going to have to take some initiative to say, here's the problem, and maybe even offer a solution. Because I don't know what is working best for you in the online setting. So be specific in your emails. Be patient. Like I said, we're trying very, very hard. I'm trying very hard to respond to everything as soon as I get it. And so if you are, if you're just patient with us and give us some time, understand that you might not get what you would consider instant and immediate, but we're going to do our best to provide instant and immediate communication. I'm sitting here with email open, ready to go, but I don't always see every single notification that pops up when it pops up. Go back and rewatch an instructional video. I post a video every day in my class, and you can go back and rewatch the steps. See, like, maybe sometimes rewatching it is a good way to remind yourself, like, how, oh, I see now where it was. It's kind of like just when I redo the problem in class and you guys go, oh, wait, now I get it. Sometimes rewatching it can be a huge help. Something else could be rereading the directions. This is really big, especially as you're working in an online setting. A lot of you are working in a setting where you are by yourself, where you are sitting maybe in your house, you've got headphones on and no one's around you. One thing you can do is reread the directions, but reread them out loud. Say them out loud to yourself. And I've seen several students go, oh, now I get it, because they just needed to hear it. So just reread the directions. That's something that we have you do in class anyway. Also, look for other resources. The teacher could send you other resources. I'm always happy to do that. But there are so many great resources out there that if you're like, ooh, I just don't know about solving a two-step equation. Let me type that in, solving two-step equation practice. And you'll find like thousands and thousands of great resources. So try looking for other resources and see if that helps. Or say to the teacher, I think I'm getting it, or I have some concerns. Can you please send me some additional resources? That would be another great example of this specific emails or communication or comments. And I think that's it. Yep. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that at least one of the things that I offered today will be useful to you. I'm going to post a Google question to just ask what is something that you learned, what is something that you maybe have caught yourself doing, and what's something that you want to try to do instead. But just remember, I'm here for you guys, and I want to help, but we just got to work through this together, and we're going to be successful, I know. Miss you guys. Think you're all awesome. Bye.